A few months ago, I did a luggage challenge and was able to fit a lot of luggage into the second generation NX's trunk. However, we didn't get a measurement to help potential buyers to get a sense of the actual size of the boot. In this video, we will measure the boot and hopefully help potential buyers get a sense of the size. Hey, it's LSFT here today, and before we start with this video, I would like to take this opportunity to thank every viewer of my channel and your continued support. Not sure when you will be watching this video, but this channel at this time of recording is reaching close to the 1000 subscriber milestone, and I would like to thank every subscriber who has enjoyed each of my video and for the ones who have commented in each video. Like every channel, I will have some viewers who would press on that thumbs down button. I understand everybody has different expectations and views, and I appreciate your feedback. It tells me that there is still a lot of room for improvement. I hope I will be able to continue with different topics as the instructional topics are starting to run dry. But I will definitely share interesting topics to our viewers and continue to provide my ownership experience on the 2022 Lexus NX 450h Plus. Without further ado, let's start talking about the trunk size. There were a lot of complaints with the first generation NX, where the trunk size was small in comparison to the other competitors. It was related to the sloped roof, where other competitors had a more boxier back. In the second generation, the size has increased, but the max capacity had actually been reduced, comparing to the first generation. The trunk size, with the second row folded up, is 22.7 cubic feet, or 643 liters. And then, with the back seats folded down, where we actually have the maximum capacity, the size increases to 46.9 cubic feet, or 1,323 liters. You would also see that the back seats are not completely flat. They curve up a little bit, but it's considered quite flat. So when we look at the previous generation, the size of the trunk with the second row up is 17.7 cubic feet, or 501 liters. And with the back seat down, it was 54.5 cubic feet, or 1,543.3 liters. So when we compare the second generation with the first generation, you would notice that the cubic feet with this back seat down has actually reduced 7.6 cubic feet, or 218.2 liters. And when the seats were actually up, we've actually gained 5 cubic feet, 141.58 liters. Many will think that this is a major drawback on the second generation NX. However, I believe Lexus has done some research. They've done their homework, and they found that most NX users would rather have a larger trunk with the seats up, and they probably are okay to lose capacity with the seats folded down. Because most owners fold their seats down to move items, and they only do that once in a while, and they don't do that every day. Let me know in the comments below on how often do you fold your seats down, and you actually need that full capacity. Would you rather have a larger trunk with the seats up and have less capacity down, or would you rather be like before in the first generation where you have a smaller trunk, but when you fold the seats down, you have more capacity? So we start measuring at the center of the trunk. From the top to the bottom in the depth, we are looking at 38.25 inches, or about 97 centimeters. Now we've measured from the width of the vehicle. I even included the netted area, and now we go all the way to the other side of the vehicle. And that measured 54.5 inches or 138.4 centimeters. Now we look at the width behind the back seats. The measurement is about 39.5 inches or 100.3 centimeters. Now we measure diagonal across the trunk. It's like measuring a TV. It's 52.5 inches or 133.4 centimeters. Now we measure behind the back seat all the way to the door. And that measures about 35 inches or 88.9 centimeters. We also measured the other side just to make sure that the trunk is actually exactly the same on both sides. So the measurements are actually very equal. Now we measure from the floor to the tonneau cover, and that measures 16.5 inches or 42 centimeters. That's quite important because we want to make sure that we can fit things right under the cover. Now the next is we measure from the floor all the way to the edge of the opening, and that measures 28.25 inches or 71.7 centimeters. Now we measure almost the widest part of the vehicle, but really just the top part where the tonneau cover is put in. We've also overlapped the tonneau cover housing, and that measures 46.5 inches or about 118 centimeters. You know that if you do have a box that is that wide, it will not fit because of the tonneau cover. That housing bulges out a bit. So we measured the housing and we found that it's about 4.75 inches or 12 centimeters. And we've measured both sides just to make sure that it is the same, and definitely it is the same. So you need to take the 46.5 inches and you have to take out the 4.75 on both sides to actually get how much you can fit behind the trunk in that area. And that actually equals to 37 inches. So next we measure behind the seat all the way to the opening of the trunk. And that measures about 22.25 inches and 56.5 centimeters. Now I also measured between the floor and how tall that back seat is, and that measures about 18.25 inches or 46.4 centimeters. Now we measure the opening of the top side of the trunk, and that measures about 35 inches or 88.9 centimeters. We also measured the opening in the midsection, which is about 39.25 inches or 99.7 centimeters. I think I've covered most of the measurements that you would be interested in. However, there's definitely another spot that you would be interested in and I did not measure. Let me know in the comments below and I would make the measurement and I'll leave you the message in the response. And I hope this is actually useful for you because this will give you a sense of how big the second generation NX compares to the first generation if you do own a first generation. You can't complete a measurement without folding down those seats. So I took the seats down and measured right behind the chair, and that gave me 71.25 and about 181 centimeters. And again, this will be a little bit different because the seat could actually push a little bit forward and give you a few more inches, but this is roughly what the size is. Hopefully that will be helpful. And now we fold down the seats and we actually look at the width between the pillars on the sides. And that gave 41 inches, so 104 centimeters. And now we measure approximately from the door to the door. And it's approximate because I didn't really touch the door on the other side, but it's roughly 49 inches or 124.5 centimeters. I think it can go to 50, but you will be touching door to door at that point. I did not do additional measurements because the same measurements on the width and the door openings are really roughly the same. And again, same thing, if you actually have a question about any measurements, leave comments below and I'll try to give you a measurement. So as an added bonus, I just decided to go and measure the seats behind the second, on the second row. And when you look at it, it's approximate. It's 41.5 inches on the back seat, really where we have on the waistline area. I also measured the size of the seat cushioning, and that is roughly about 48 inches. So you can see that it is a bit wider, but still a bit tight for 3. And one of my viewers actually asked me, how wide is the middle seat? So here's the measurement. You can say it's 10 inches, or you can say it's about 12 inches, depending how you really measure, right? So you can see here, if it's only that little line from line, it's 10 inches, but if you go from all the way to the seatbelt, it's about 12. And now measuring the other 2 seats, it's roughly about 17 inches, and if you go to the line, it's about 18 inches. Since I was measuring the back seats, I wanted to show you the ISO fix hooks so that you can actually see where child seats could be hooked in under. And you can see it's quite accessible and it's not that hard to get to. It's quite visible just by looking at it. And the last measurement is the back seat cushion. It's about 19.25 inches. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. You can also press that bell icon to get alerted when new videos are out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers.